has allowed the carrots to grow hand in hand with the sticks. And two human rights organizations were mentioned that were set up in Saudi Arabia after 9/11. These ones I call gingos. What do I mean? I mean governmental, non-governmental organizations. That means that they are set up by the government. Their members are appointed by the government, and therefore they do not have any kind of independent status. And yes, of course, they would take the case of a woman who was slapped by her husband or had her head smashed against the wall. Yes, they will do that, but they will not take the case of someone, an academic who is picked out of his office in college and taken to the Secret Service, imprisoned for several months, then released and deprived of freedom of movement because he wrote a letter to say that Saudi prisons are appalling.
I'm chairing it, please, Daniel. When you chair meetings,
so the gingos, we are told to...
Daniel, you can go.
We are told that the gingos are NGOs. The gingos are not NGOs. On terrorism, Saudi Arabia adopts double standards in its treatment of terrorism. Jihad, the famous or infamous word, at home is haram, forbidden. But jihad abroad is possibly halal. And here I'm referring to a scholarly piece of work that deals with the so-called success story of the rehabilitation program, which has been studied by Roel Mayer, an independent scholar of Islamic intellectual history. And he demonstrated that the so-called humanitarian program that we call the rehabilitation program that Britain got very excited about, and the United Nations and many others, is actually not that successful, and it is not that humanitarian, because it has not resolved the contradiction between halal jihad and haram jihad. Let me conclude now. Saudi Arabia is an authoritarian regime and draws on Islam and culture to justify a wide range of abuses. Let's not let oil, strategic location, opportunities for trade, weapon purchases, investment, and so-called sovereign funds blind us from the reality of this regime. Authoritarian rule can generate economic prosperity, but at what price? Transparency, accountability, those are the words that all Saudis want. What we have is abuse of human rights, violation of civil liberties, but those are not problems for Saudis. In a globalized world, these have become problems that haunt the world. Generating terrorism? Yes, because the Saudi regime suppresses every other opportunity to express opinion. For political participation, we do not have that, and therefore people have resorted to violence. They have resorted to violence because they have not been given the opportunity to enjoy some of the basic human rights. This terrorism has come to haunt us everywhere. It is thanks to the fact that Saudi Arabia had a ceaseless quest to establish itself as a kingdom without borders. Thank you.
Can I please ask to have patience, because I am chairing it and I want to give everybody the opportunity to conclude, and I think it would be wrong when we are allowing everybody else to express their views, whether we agree or disagree. I think we should have the patience. Now, our fifth speaker tonight is May Yamani, who I've known for many years. She's an academic, an author. She was working for Chatham House and Carnegie, I think, last in Beirut. Yeah, she was working there. I do remember her when she was working there. But anyway, there you go. Thank you. but she will, I know, and she's author of many books, and her latest book, Cradle of Islam, The Quest for an Identity in Saudi Arabia. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome May Yamani.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak on this very important topic. My life and my experiences give me a unique perspective into this. I am an academic. I am not one of nature's dissidents. My background is from Mecca. My grandfathers have been ulama, religious scholars, with a tradition of debate in the halagat al-ilm, the circles of knowledge in the great mosque, and writing books on jurisprudence. My father is also a lawyer, and as he also was instrumental in Saudi Arabia's oil policy for decades. So I am the daughter of that land. And now, as word went around that this debate on human rights and civil liberties will be taking place, I received emails from ordinary Saudis, some my former students in the days I was a lecturer at King Abdulaziz University in Jeddah. These are very moving messages, heartbreaking. I was asked to be that voice with you today. I should tell you with all candor that after the publication of my book, Changed Identities, The Challenge of the New Generation in Saudi Arabia, published by Chatham House, it was a collection of interviews with the voices of young men and women and their frustrations, their hopes. As an academic, I thought that such a book would be useful to the authorities, especially if they were interested in and concerned about reform and the opinions of their youthful subjects. But I was told by the Saudi authorities that I would need to go through a re-education. Re-education in the kingdom is in the hands of a very secretive judiciary. For information on re-education, you can see reports of Amnesty International. After my book, Cradle of Islam, The Hijaz and the Quest for Identity in Saudi Arabia, a book was published by the Saudi Ministry of Interior entitled Mughalatat May Yamani, The Errors of May Yamani, which lists all my errors, and I'm sorry, I don't want to mention them, may be too shocking in this beautiful room. I know Saudi academics who, for writing one article, received 60 lashes, considered by the authorities as a deterrent. I have written dozens of articles and published books. In addition, so I don't think I have the back to absorb the beyond 60 lashes deterrent. 1,000 lashes is not an uncommon sentence for authors, broadcasters. For example, in the case of Abdul Jawad, what I'm going to do is, may I please, I brought some information with evidence and names that will be distributed because of our short time. And I'm sorry, I did not have to time to translate it from the Arabic. Sorry for those who don't speak Arabic. Now, so now that I have given you my credentials to serve as the voice of Saudi Arabia's silent intellectuals, let me outline their concerns and their fears. Some individuals are new to you, and others, they don't want to be identified for obvious reasons. When they speak of human rights, they remind us of the saying of the Caliph Umar bin al-Khattab, متى استعبدتم الناس وقد ولدتهم أمهاتهم أحرارا. Why do you enslave people when their mothers have given birth to them free? The theme of freedom dominates their discourse. There is no freedom of speech. Journalists and academics who breach the red lines of censorship are sacked, banned from writing, such as Wajih al-Huwaidir, or subjected to flogging, such as Dr. Abu Ruzaiza, imprisoned like Matrouk and Falih,